Whether the person is firm or not is determined based on the questions you ask. And if they're firm, then you work with them. If they're not firm, then you don't close them.
I wonder how can you work with somebody that is very difficult to narrow down. This gentleman I'm working with, he was given $200,000 as the pre-approval letter, as the budget for his home. And I sent him a list of homes. He didn't like anything. He doesn't actually live in Houston, so he doesn't mind so much the area. It was a very broad area. And then I found out that he was actually looking with his son, and his son was working with Alma, who is one of our colleagues. And it was a very complicated client to serve whatever they want. I ended up offering duplexes so they can both families live side to side. They seem to like, but then most of them don't have garage, don't have backyard. So it's like very difficult to serve what he wants. How do you prepare him and also prepare his expectations as well and sort of narrow that down? Do you use some sort of chart, or how do you narrow down a search, especially when there are two families involved in the search and there is area, there is likes and dislikes, there are too many people involved on the criteria, a low budget, so to speak?
Let's talk about how do we make sure that we're working with the right person first, because not everybody is the right person to work with. Okay, so there's a formula that you need to be aware of. Okay, so I call it the firm formula. When you're talking to buyers, sellers the first time, this is what you need to try to figure out. Whether the person is firm or not is determined based on the questions you ask. And if they're firm, then you work with them. If they're not firm, then you don't close them. So you're not supposed to close everybody. You're supposed to close the ones who are closest to firm or firm. So it's FIRM. The first one is financially able to buy. About their budget. When you're talking to them or meeting with them, a lot of times I ask them, what do you do for a living? Because when they tell me what they do for a living, at least I have an idea what their income is, right? If they say, oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm an attorney, okay, at least I have an idea how much money they might be making. If they say, oh, I just graduated from high school, I would have questions about who's gonna make the payments, right? If they say, oh, I'm an Uber driver, great. Then I'm thinking about, are you an independent contractor who's writing off all of your expenses? Is your income written off on your taxes? Or do you have like your income? So I always ask like, what do you do for a living? Stuff like that. I also try to find out if how much they're putting down. Are you paying in cash, or are you financing it? I always assume everybody has the cash to buy, so I always confirm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now ISAs, this is not on your script, so don't ask these questions. This is for the agents when you're doing the consultation the first time. When you're meeting with them, you're trying to figure out, hey, when you're showing them the house, you ask these kind of questions. Okay, you're trying to figure out if they have down payment, how much down payment are you putting down? This gives you an idea of what they're thinking financially. If they're saying, oh, I wasn't even thinking I had to put any down payment, right? Versus they're saying, oh, I'm putting 20%, 25% down. Or they might be telling you, oh, I'm still saving up money so I can put 20% down. That's why I always ask, how much money are you putting down? All right, so that's financially able to buy. You determine if they're actually able to buy or able to sell if they're a seller. Okay, the second part is, are they actually interested in working with you? This one's kind of easy, okay? Because obviously if you're showing them houses, if they're getting emails from you, if you're connecting, if they feel like they are your client, if you feel like you are their agent, then obviously there's rapport. Obviously there's interest in working together.